Hello everyone, hope you're doing alright. Today I have for you gameplay from Mr. Nat himself. Nat, a very talented Sork player, especially in the ranked scene. Nat, thank you very much for sending in your gameplay. I really do appreciate it. So, looking at today's gameplay, Nat's a very talented player. We're going to see what he's doing well, and I'm going to be a little bit picky because he's Nat, and I have to bully him just a little bit. So there are four things we want to be focusing on. The first is targeting in arena with tanks. The second is positioning. The third is communication and attitude. And the fourth is our knocks. So, brief disclaimer as usual. No one's perfect. We all make these mistakes sometimes. There's always something we can be learning from these games. So I don't care if you're a 26k pumping Andy or if you're a 4k objective noob. It's totally fine. Send me your games. I'd love to see them at bigsgaming@gmail.com. That way we can all review together and learn a little bit something about where we are in the game. So the first thing I want to draw attention to, especially in tank games, in arenas, we need to find a way to play around the tank. What does that mean? Well, in arena games, the tank is the most important person on the team, both your team and the enemy's team, because they have the guard mechanic. For those of you who don't know, guard in PvP means that the target that currently has a guard, like Nat does right here, receives 50% less damage, and that damage is transferred back into the tank. So it's important to not be tunneling into guard. If you're tunneling into guard, you're doing a whole lot less damage. You're not going to be able to kill your target effectively. So, what does Nat do? He communicates well. He talks in chat. He says, let's go on the Slinger and the Power Tech. He means the Vanguard. In ranked, PT and Vanguard are called the same thing. So, what he's saying is we're going to be splitting on the Gunslinger and on the Vanguard, depending on who has guard. So, if the tank guards the Vanguard, we'll tunnel the Gunslinger. If the tank guards the Gunslinger, we'll tunnel the Vanguard. It's a very simple concept if you've been inside range for a long time, but if you're just getting into it, you're just getting into arena, you don't know what's exactly going on, it's a very simple concept. Hit the target that doesn't have a guard. Especially, you want to be tunneling targets that don't have good recovery mechanics. This is where general knowledge of the gameplay is going to be very important because we want to be hitting classes that don't have a great way of recovering their health. So right now, Gunslingers and Vanguards don't have great ways to be bumping their health pool back up compared to like a Commando who has all their defensive cooldowns and can heal to full pretty much on a whim. So he does a very nice job of communicating to his team when we going the Slinger and the Power Tech, depending on who has the guard. So good job, Nat, right away with effective target selection. Let's get on the road here. You're going to see, almost right off the bat, we get into a bit of bad spots here because we lose our fourth player. So, you know, these things happen. It is what it is. We'll play it out. We'll see how it goes. So the first thing that we're going to be, or the second thing we're really be paying attention to here is Nat's positioning throughout the match. All right, look where he is standing right now. Oh, let's get a Nat out of this corner. It appears that he has charged headlong into the enemy, and this is kind of true. He is standing in the open for the moment, but he can be a little bit more aggressive with his positioning because he has a guard. Especially when you're playing with a tank, you need to find a way to stay relatively close to where the tank is going to be. Tanks are all melee, so he's deciding, okay, where do I want to be? What are my advantages? I have a guard on me, so I can be a little bit more aggressive. I want to get up onto the bridge so I can use my knocks, and I want to stay relatively within like line of sight. So, where does he go when he starts to position? He moves past the entire team here, he lets them all run by him, and he finds a little bit of cover. This is something that every single ranged player in the game needs to be doing. You need to find a large, solid object and place it between yourself and the enemy team. Do not let their entire team hit you for free. Nat does a very, very good job all the time of finding large pieces of cover to be sitting behind, especially as a Sork when he has a bunch of instant casted abilities. He doesn't stand over here in Dead Man Land, where it's so many players like to do. He finds a nice solid wall to stick between himself and the enemy team, and you're going to see he's doing this throughout this entire engagement. So for example, you can see here the team kind of follows him up. So where does he go? He gets knocked away here. Now this is going to be a very breaking from our two conversations before of targeting and positioning. Watch how Nat manages his CC breaker. He doesn't break immediately. He doesn't break this route like a Mongoloid. He also doesn't break this CC. He gets stunned. He has white bar. Why isn't he using his breaker? Because he knows that the commando has a net. And net is the death of all sorcerers. So he does a very good job of not sitting here with his thumb up his ass. Instead, he waits for the net to come. Here comes the net. And now he's comfortable to break. Now he has a white bar. Now he has a net on him. He can break and now use his bubble and his phase walk, etc. Especially when you're in arena games. Don't just spend your breaker willy-nilly. You need to have a good reason to spend every single breaker. So he has white bar on him, and the commander used his net, which means he can now break freely because he'll be able to access his high mobility actions. That's a very long-winded way to say, if you're in arena, wait till you have a white bar if you want a breaker, and if there's a commando or a mercenary in the enemy team, wait till you get a net on you, and then use a net on you, and then use your breaker because you'll survive a whole lot longer. Now, what does Nat immediately do? What does he immediately do? He goes back here and he finds a large solid object right here. Look at him go. He finds a large solid object to put between himself and the entire enemy team. This is going to be a reoccurring thing. I'm going to point it out every single time because you can all learn from this. He finds a nice large solid object so the entire team can't tunnel him for free. We'll come back to these knocks in a little bit, all right? So, where is he running to? He is running away from the engagement. He's finding large, solid objects to put between himself and the enemy team. Again, where does he run? He doesn't run over here in the middle of Dead Man's Land or the middle of Dead Man's Land. He finds the large, solid object. I'm going to beat this into your brain over and over and over again. If you are a Sork or if you're a ranged DPS, please find a large, solid object and glue your ass to it, all right? Don't let the entire enemy team cast into you for free. It's definitely not worth it. Phases away, and this is just kind of scuffed at this point. The targeting at this point of the game is kind of just over. But you know, that's not the end of the world. It is what it is. Again, what's he do well? He finds a large solid object, he glues his ass to it, and just by positioning well, he's surviving a whole lot better than most Sorks in the game would. Because most Sorks in the game want to stand out here in the middle of Dead Man's Land and let the entire team cast into him, right? Then you're going to have the gunslinger casting into you. You're going to have the commando casting into you pretty much for free. That's not worth it, all right? I'm gonna beat this into your brain over and over and over again. Positioning, 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 positioning. Now, the next thing that Nat does really well is he doesn't let the game get to him, all right? Nat does a very good job of not getting angry at Regs PvP, all right? These are... The amount of players in this game, he's gonna say something cute and coy in chat, and he's gonna make a joke of it. It's totally fine. The amount of players in this moment that would go, "Oh my god, you guys are all terrible players. I can't believe I'm stuck in this garbage team." That accomplishes nothing. There is no point in getting mad at Regs PvP for a couple of reasons. First, if you're mad, you play worse. You jump into the enemy team trying to tunnel the person that dumpstered on you. You just play worse when you play angry. Two, it's Regs PvP. You don't have to get that upset about it, all right? So, in general, if you can please follow Nat's example, for one, you're going to play better, and for two, you'll just have a more pleasant experience if you're not raging over every single game of Regs PvP. So, focusing, again, positioning, and targeting. He's going to do a good job of tunneling into the Vanguard when he doesn't have a guard. He's going to be doing a good job of tunneling into the Gunslinger when he doesn't have a guard, right? He's positioning well, he's standing away, and then he's going to see that the entire enemy team is essentially aping into him, and so where does he go? Let's compare two positions right here, all right? So, we're going to give it 2 seconds. This guy's going to jump down. All right. Where did Nat stand when he saw the enemy team was aping into him? He put himself below this giant bridge so that way the people up top can't tunnel into him. You can see the commando and the slinger had no sight lines on him, right? And he got away from the Vanguard so that if he needs to, he can easily pop behind this gigantic vertical pillar so that way he can't get totally dumpstered on. Compare the situation to the Gunslinger. Now, I'm going to be straight up with you. This game is an L for the boys, all right? Nat's team is not going to do well this game. You'll see why later on. But just from a sheer positioning standpoint, the gunslinger doesn't have to be here. The focus target is standing over here in the middle of Dead Man's Land. This gunslinger should stay up top. There's no good reason for him to be down here. Because if this is a better team and Nat's team like carries its weight, these teammates should jump on him and not let him get away and force him to spend his phase walk and essentially dumpster on him. Nat does a great job of positioning himself in a way where the enemy ranged players can't get to him easily compared to a gunslinger that jumps into the middle of Dead Man's Land here. And you can see I call it Dead Man's Land for a reason, because our mercenary friend, where's he standing? He's standing in the middle of Nowheresville with no cover for miles around, where the commando up top and the gunslinger and the vanguard can all get to him very easily, and he's going to pretty much immediately die and contribute nothing to his team. If this commando or this mercenary was essentially positioning better, we live a lot better here. We also notice, I'm gonna pop back here for a quick second. I want you to tell me why Nat tabs off this target. So you can see here, the target was at 26%. Now he's gonna come over here and tab onto the guy with guard. Why is he doing this? It's actually very simple. Nat doesn't want to put damage into Koltho Overload. Koltho Overload will heal through all the damage that Nat can do. So he's not going to waste his time tunneling into Koltho when the damage is just going to be healed. He's going to put that little bit of extra damage into the gunslinger. It's a good decision when it comes to targeting and something we can all learn from. Now, we're going to have a sad situation here. Something very tragic is going to happen. The vanguard is running away right up to where Nat put his phase walk, right? So, what should Nat do? He's gonna phase walk, right? He's gonna phase walk. And he phase walks. And the game bugs. Tragic. Truly, truly tragic. Now, once again, you have two options when responding to a situation like this. Either you can go in chat and type, dog shit game, wish game was better, totally had you if game doesn't break like this, oh my goodness. Or you can go next. Which do you think is going to be more productive in the long haul? And not just more productive, just going to make you generally happier. That does a very good job of not actively losing his shit. Alright? Once again, we're going to see here, Nat finding large, solid objects to put between himself and the enemy team so the commando and the gunslinger can't cast into him for free. Please, I know this is going to sound like I'm beating a dead horse. It's because I am. Follow Nat's example. If you are a ranged DPS, find a vertical object and glue your ass to it, all right? You're going to live a lot longer than standing out there in Dead Man's Land, as we saw from the Merc, as we saw from Nat here. So, things that we've learned so far. Positioning, 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 positioning. I'm going to say it over and over again. Please position correctly. Secondly, targeting the right players. Understanding how guard works in arenas like this. Very important to make sure that we're not tunneling into, people who have guard on them or people who have Koltho running that you're not going to do any actual damage to. All right? You're going to see Nat's going to pull the old Razzle Dazzle here. It's a nice little move. If you haven't seen this move before, what he does, for those of you who have a phase walk, he sets the phase walk up high. This is a lesson for all you slingers, sorks, and snipers and sages. You set the phase walk up high, you bait the people down low, and then you let the people chase, and then you phase walk right back. Since there's no jetpacks in this game that people can't get back to you very quickly, it gives you an extra few seconds to run around, or if you're Nat, it gives you an extra 6 seconds to preserve your life before you die. It kind of is what it is, but if you haven't seen those phase walk jukes before, it's a very simple move that you can be pulling on your enemies. So if you're looking for ways to survive, phase walk juke is probably a good way to go. And even here at the end, he does a very nice job of finding the large vertical object. Now you're going to see here, this team was doomed from the start. Just from a sheer raw damage output, these teams were just drastically different. But he didn't let it ruin his day. He submitted the VOD anyway because he's a gamer and he doesn't really care. It's going to make you a lot happier in the long run. Let's head on over to game numero dos. All right, game numero dos. Kind of same situations, except a little bit different. In this game, we have the extreme advantage because we have the tank, right? So because we have the tank, we can play a lot more aggressively. Nat's gonna see, oh look, I have the guard on me. Ah, good. That means Nat can play extremely aggressively, all right? He has guard on him, which means he's gonna take 50% less damage. Both sides have a tank, which means that he needs to find, or I'm sorry. Both sides have a healer, which means that he needs to find a way to make the most out of his tank. So, where does he go? Where does Nat go? Does he stand back here in the middle of Dead Man's Land and let his tank run all the way up here and cast as a melee caster while he's going to sit back here in rangeland and not get any benefit from his guard? No, Nat moves up. Nat moves up with his tank because his tank is going to be standing inside of melee. So Nat knows if he wants to get the benefit out of that guard and not get completely dumpstered on, he needs to be making life easy for his tank by standing with him, all right? Very simple concept. If you get a guard, stand with your tank, all right? Make their life easy. It's much easier for you to play around your tank than it is for your tank to play around you, especially for most ranged casters. The tank doesn't want to sit at 30-meter range because that's extremely boring, all right? A tank is a melee caster. He doesn't want to sit there at 35-meter range with you, right? He wants to get in there, do some damage, do some taunting, etc. Make their life easy. If you have a guard, position will move into melee because you have a guard and you're going to live a whole lot longer, just as long as you confirm that you have the guard on you, right? The rest of this match, relatively dull. Let's be straightforward. Like, we have tank, we have guard, we live forever, we hit targets, they die. Totally fine. Kind of is what it is, right? So, what have we learned so far today? One, when playing with tanks, play around your tank, all right? If you have a guard, stand with them. Do not hit into players that have a guard. You're gonna throw. If the player has a guard, 95% of the time, you probably shouldn't be hitting into them. Two, positioning. Find large vertical objects to stick your little caboose onto. Make love to these vertical objects, all right? You're gonna find that it's gonna live a whole lot more if you don't make it easy for the enemy team to hit you. Don't make it easy for them to get to you. We talked about communication and attitude and how if you let the game get to you and you get mad over Regs PvP, it only makes you a clown, all right? No one has ever looked cool being mad at Regs PvP. It just doesn't happen. Finally, we discussed the idea of a phase walk juke. I know we mentioned it previously before. The idea, you set your phase walk up high. Oh, hold up. Set the phase walk up high. You jump down. The enemy team follows you down. They live down here in Nowheresville, and then we get to jump back up and then heal ourselves up a little bit more. Very simple concept, but if you haven't seen it done before, it feels bad when it's done to you. So that's the basics of how it's done. So, now we come to the point of the video where I need to rag on you a little bit, Nat, all right? All right? Because the rest of this is, you're doing fine, right? You're doing perfectly fine. You're doing damage. Great. But what haven't we done well across all these games, Nat? Is this ability right here. This ability right here called Overload. This is a knock, especially in arenas. Using your knocks effectively is very important. Most range classes have them. If you're a sniper, you have cover pulse. If you're a commando, you have, I don't know, whatever the commando one is called. AoE, big knock. Knocks are extremely important in arenas because arenas, 4v4s. At the end of the day, SWTOR is a PvP numbers game, all right? If you can force the team into a 3v4, you win most of the time. Creating opportunities for your number of players to be higher than the enemy's numbers of players is huge. Swan McKev, we were on the bridge. We didn't get any knocks off to create 3v4s. Here, we're standing up top. Knock this motherfucker, Nat. Knock him. Hold up. Let's go back here. Hold up. This man right here. Knock him. Send this man to fucking Madagascar. Send him away. Because either he has to defend his phase walk to get back up, or he's sitting away from his healer and you just tunnel him from range. He can't do any damage back to us. We tunnel all the damage into him and he dies. All right? There are We'll review the entire VOD here in a quick second. If I had a dime for every acceptable knock that we had, I'd have 0 dimes. All right? 0 dimes, Nat. All right? We did not make effective use of our knocks here. Especially in a situation like this. You're going to see here, this gets a little more hairy than we might want to appreciate. Because this guy, who we could have knocked previously, was pumping damage into our healer. And our tank, they were getting a little low here. Like, more low than they probably should have been. If we had knocked the guy effectively, this wouldn't be a situation at all. They'd just be dead. He'd be dead, our healers would be alive, and totally fair. But because we did not make space for the healers and peel for them with effective knocks, we got absolutely nothing. And so we made this game a little more risky than we had to be. You can see this guy uses an effective knock, knocks the DPS down, and buys time for his healer, right? So let's go back here and review very quickly some of these knock situations, right? So we come here at the opener. Oh, this is still the opener. First knock opportunity comes here, where we come this way. We stand near the pylon. Great. We use our breaker. Bump. Taking damage. Use our breaker effectively. Good job. And now we use our knock here. Boop. And we got exactly dick for it. We got exactly dick for this knock. Nothing. Nada. We didn't send the commando bopping off the side here. We didn't send anyone off the ledge up here and buy ourselves time. We bought ourselves exactly nothing. All right? Now, let's keep going here, all right? So we come here. All this damage is done. Good. We come up to the pillar here. Great. We come this way. We have the opportunity to knock this man off. And bonk. Got exactly jack dick for this knock, Nat. We didn't buy ourselves any time. We let the sniper get back into cover here, which means that he didn't go anywhere. Additionally, by the time we use this knock, this sniper is not going to go off the edge. He's going to hit this ledge right here, so we position ourselves poorly for this follow-up knock. Very sag times, Nat. All right? Very sag times. Going to keep on going. We don't really run into many good knock opportunities until we get to here, when we kill the Vanguard at long last. Thank God. This guy comes back. Nat, send this motherfucker to the goddamn Shadowlands, all right? Knock him off. Buy yourself some time, my dude, all right? No knocks, 0 knocks. Next game, we come back here. We do not get any good knocks standing on McKeb when the entire team is standing on the ledge here. The one good knocks we had, we ended up sending the guy onto the railing, and we didn't get him anywhere. Now these are going to be, that's a very picky complaint. See, this knock doesn't get anything. Fortunately, the Guardian is paying attention and sends the guy off. All right? That's like the one good thing that happened because of our knock, because the Guardian was paying attention. 2 knocks. We got nothing. Now, most of you aren't good enough to get these complaints. All right? Most of my viewers would not get this nitpicky from me. But Nat, you're a goddamn gold Sork. And if you're going to have gold Sork on your title, I'm going to critique your knocks like you should be playing a gold Sork, my guy. So, that was the one thing that we noticed that we could be improving on. Plus, it's Nat. See, another knock that goes absolutely nowhere. I had to flame a little bit because it's Nat. He's like a professional flamer. So, I had to give it to him. But once again, if we had our knock here, we can send this guy to the Shadowlands, and we don't have it. So, those are the critiques that we have for today. Good thing that I know I just ragged on Nat for like 5 minutes because he's Nat and I kind of have to. Like, I'm obligated in the contract to rag on Nat. He knows that he's a good player. Targeting in arenas with tanks, play around guard, play with your own guard if you have to. Position well, glue your ass to a goddamn vertical service. You'll be very thankful for it. Communication and attitude. Nat does a very good job of it. Very solid of him. And Nat, fix your goddamn knocks. I'm going to be at your door. All right? I'm going to find you. I'm going to bind knock to every key on your bar. All right? All right. So, that is the end of today's VOD. If you want your own VOD reviewed, by all means, send it my way. You don't have to be a god tier gamer. Just, send your VODs to me, bigsgaming@gmail.com. I really do appreciate it. But that's all I have. So, I hope this was entertaining and fun for everyone involved. And, yeah, I'll see you later. Bye-bye.